Hey, thank you for spending a little bit of your time with us. We really, truly appreciate it. Myself and Zach Humphreys with the Tradix team. I've got Zach and Hugo, so we got a lot to cover with you. We're going to talk to you guys about Tradix. We're going to talk about today was a big day for crypto. Crypto's on fire. CPI came out, all that. So how are you? I'll start with you. I'm going to have to do this. Not YouTube, Zach. Tradix Zach. There we go. So Tradix Zach, how are you, sir?
I'm great. Yeah, it's going to get a little confusing with several Zachs in here. We're not used to it, but always nice to be here. I appreciate it. It's a great, a great setting to follow up the launch, and obviously with the app release yesterday, and there's a lot of really exciting stuff to cover. So I'm happy to be here. I appreciate you, Austin, and Zach. I appreciate you for joining as well.
Well, it's been a fantastic relationship that we started with you guys. It's cool to see your launch go well. I know we're going to get into that here in a minute. We're going to get into the app is up and running for Hugo. I'm going to throw that to you just in a minute, up and running on Google Play. But yeah, so Hugo, introduce yourself if you would, and let's get going.
Hi, Hugo here again. I'm super excited. Our app finally launched. It actually launched at roughly around 1 a.m. in the morning, Mountain Time Zone, and Tyler sent me the notification. Basically pinpointing that the app is live, and I was so super excited that I hopped on TG and I was making noise, and even though people were already asleep, I was super hyped because this is work that we've been literally working round the clock to make sure that we can prove that what we have is legitimate and can actually change this crypto space. So I'm having a good day. Today's a good day for me, and the basic introduction is I'm the software dev for Tradex, the one that's working on the app, and just glad to be here.
Cool. So I do have a question. So they didn't notify you, did they? It just went live and nothing, just here it is. Is that what it was?
No notification. Well, they send you an email that you're live, and that's it.
Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah, there you go. And of course we got Zach, which that Zach down there is who I'm talking about. So welcome, bro.
Yep. Yeah, man. Happy to be here, and excited about trying the app. I'm an all Apple guy, so I guess I got to wait a little bit longer, right? But excited about it. Excited for you guys too. Really nice launch. I know we want to talk about that in a little bit more detail, but really steady launch given this market condition, and actually ended up being a nice little time too. A little crypto bump overall, so people are excited. I think really. It's been a surprising first 12 days. Austin and I were talking about this off air a little bit. It's been welcomed, even though, we might still be in a larger bear market, but hey, we'll take it when we can get it. And I can feel like there's a lot more new energy kind of in the crypto market, right? Like the first 12 days of the year, you can kind of feel like people were restless in the back half of 2022. They're looking for quality companies. They're looking for quality opportunities. And Tradex is certainly one right here that could be worth your while if you want to dive into it. So happy to be here, man.
Yeah. I mean, and Zach, I want to throw this one to you. Tradix Zach. Tradix Zach. I mean, again, right? I'm just gonna have to do that all damn day. Okay, so I'm gonna call you TZ. There it is, Tradix Zach. TZ. Yeah. There you go. So, when you guys launched, you launched the token first, obviously, because you were at the behest, if you will, that's not a good word, but you get my point, of Google Play and Apple when they actually launched the app, Hugo, right? But I love that you guys have launched the utility. The utility was ready when you did the token. That's really where I'm going to. So Zach, sorry, TZ. Can you speak to that and kind of give us some input on that?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll go by TZ. That's completely fine as long as I'm not the Cardano guy again.
Well, you don't have the sweater, the hoodie. That's what it is. I think that's what it was, man.
Yeah,
dude. I hope you didn't take that to heart. I was just having fun with that, but you definitely.
I know. I just like messing with you back to make you feel bad. No, it was a really slick launch, and it was really nice that we were able to set it up. And there was a lot of questions, of how are you guys going to handle it? Are you going to be able to pull it off? Are there going to be a bunch of big dumps? And are you able going to be slided in past this everyone trying to snipe it? And it's a testament to the protocols we put in place for launch. And it's not really about not letting snipers in. It's how to get around them as much as possible, make it as smooth as possible. And as you can see, it went a very, very steady climb. We're sitting around 4x up and 4 or 5x up, and we're ready for the next leg up. And yeah, launching the app was supposed to be on launch day, but like you mentioned, there's not much you can do when you're dealing with corporations like Google and Apple, and pushing through all of that red tape. But as far as timing it as close to launch as possible, I think Hugo and the rest of the team did a pretty damn good job to get the application out as close to the launch as possible. And download count is already going up. People are already utilizing it, and the chart is setting up real nicely for the next leg up, and we're excited to get the app out there more and more exposure, and do stuff like this to really outline exactly what we're doing, because it is fun to be in the degen space, the DeFi space, all of this this stuff. But it's also cool to provide utility and real things that people actually do need in the space and are able to utilize out of the gate.
So
Zach,
go ahead. And by the way, hold on. I have to show this. This is great. Call him Zach and Z Hump for.
Yeah, that's so that's hilarious. What's funny about that is all my friends call me Z Hump. So I think Jonathan, we were on another live stream last night. Jonathan mentioned, he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna call you Z Hump." I'm like, "That's fine. That's what everybody calls me." People, don't know that in crypto, but okay. All right, Zach, we were talking off air. Yeah, or Bald Zach. Go with Bald Zach.
Bald Zach. Oh, there we go. All right.
So we were talking off air, man. Like this is cross chain to the alerts. So you were kind of speaking to that when we were talking before we jumped on air. It's not just for Ethereum, right? So you're getting alerts on Palm Chain too, right?
Yeah, I have this set up right now. I mean, I have the alerts set up for the tokens that I'm trading. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm trading tokens on Ethereum and on Palm Chain. I'm not a big BSC trader, although those alerts work. There's other chains as well that the feed is pulling in from that we're able to track those. So, I mean, my personal alerts, if someone were to open the Tradex app on my phone and look at the alerts, I have Ethereum alerts and I have Palm Chain alerts that are currently pulling into my phone, alerting me when these tokens, and fresh launch tokens too, are all alerting me.
So Zach, let me ask you this too. So do you personally have the agency to set up on the app, like, hey, I want to be alerted when this moves 10%. I want to be alerted when this moves 15%, 20%. How is that working, like from a user perspective?
Yeah, and if Hugo, you want to jump in and outline some of the functionality, those are some of the main points that we added. Actually, when Hugo and I and Tyler are going back and forth during the original build, I could see Hugo's face smiling right now at how many times we went back and forth about, wait, let's just add a really easy button. What if you just had a 10%, a 20%, negative 10%, right? And so I know Hugo probably wanted to tear our heads off while we're going back and forth, but yeah, that is a big functionality of the alerts. And Hugo, if you want to speak on that, please do.
Absolutely. So when the app was first, of course, the original design did not have the percentage option of it. But when I was done, Zach just, he messaged me and he was like, well, what if you can have it in a way that they can just work from a percentage perspective? So we didn't want a 10% increase or a 50% increase. And that made absolute sense for, because, I mean, you could basically want to sell or you could basically want to buy if a token goes down by 50%. That's an option for you to want to buy in, or if you make a 50% gain, you might want to sell, because typically you had to go in there and you had to manually change the market cap by yourself. So now in the app, you have two options to manually go in and change the market cap to where you want it to be at, or you could just change that percentage aspect of it. and it will alert you based on what percentage that you put that token in. So that's the really cool fact about it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's super user friendly too. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really, I know when we first started talking to you guys and we did the AMA over on Zach's channel and Hugo, I mean, what you guys are doing, I mean, just simply alerting is something that is, it's weird. I mean, I literally got done with the AMA and I was trying to think of other ways or what have you, to get those alerts. And the fact that you're, doing it in an app, and then ultimately you're going to have the stop loss and all those other things that are coming in V2. It's like, why didn't we have this earlier? But that's a whole different dialogue.
Right.
Like, why didn't we have this earlier? Somebody should have made this crap. Okay, here we go. So Zach, I had a question for you. We didn't really talk about tokenomics, obviously, before you launch. Can you give us some insight into taxes, buy, sell, or anything like that? Kind of give for anybody who's thinking about buying, looking at picking up buying in. So what's the lay of land there?
Yeah, of course. And one of the reasons of not releasing that prior to launch is obviously we wanted the launch to go as smooth as possible. And I think that, just looking at the chart, it's pretty clear that it was for a good reason to not release that. We are at a 10% buy tax right now and a 10% sell tax right now. I'll break down where that goes. I do want to touch on something though. We had initially we had a 48-hour anti-dump tax, right? Just because there were some airdrops that went out, previous holders, previous project, relaunch, that kind of stuff. We wanted to make sure to keep it as steady as possible. So originally we had a 48-hour anti-dump tax, which then doubled the tax for them to sell within the first 48 hours from the launch window. Now, we're really receptive. If someone says something and if someone suggests something, we're going to listen to them. There was a lot of upset or negativity from some people around the high sell tax. So instead of a 48-hour window, we shortened that to a 24-hour window. So we already took that off. So right now we're sitting at 10 and 10. There's a lot of, other really successful tokens that are using those same level of taxes because, let's face it, when you're building something and when you are creating something as far as, an application or something to provide a real utility, you're going to need capital and sustainability from the tokenomics to then put back into the utility. So that is needed there. Now, something that we're also hearing with the taxes is lower it. There's people that are buying in and completely fine. We have talked as a team and there is an option that we are exploring to drop the taxes again. And that will be the final tax drop to an 8% in and 8% out. So instead of having it 10, we're thinking about dropping it an extra 2. Liquidity is already very healthy and the chart's very stable. So we're going to then take off the 2% liquidity and have it 8 and 8. So that's going to be something that we're listening to the community. We're taking their feedback because, let's face it, this is a community space. Whether you have a dedicated team, working their asses off around the clock or not, we have to take the feedback, right? Because sometimes there's blind spots that we're not seeing. We're not accounting for everything. So I already see in the comments right now, people excited about that. So yeah, very happy to announce that we're hearing and we're adjusting it as needed.
So Zach, there was somebody who dropped in. Yeah, Jimmy. And I know, so thank you for addressing that and not addressing it in a negative way. Just again, we're having the discussion, right? So you mentioned 8 and 8. So buy, sell. Have you thought about, 5% buy and say, keep the 10% sell again to lower the buy to get more people in? Is that one of the narratives or one of the discussion points? Or, again, I'm just asking.
Yeah. So we are, as a team, discussing the different options. We, of course, want to make sure that there is adequate funding in the needed places. We also want to make sure that we're not having too low of a buy and too high of a sell, because then obviously people feel trapped. They feel, like they got bamboozled sometimes when they get in on a very low buy tax token. And then they're like, oh, well, to exit, it's a lot. you're also accounting for people needing to sell in order to generate funds. So there needs to be some sort of middle ground there, and you know, a happy middle point to where we're still sustaining, still sending money into, you know, like the tax pools, still sending money into the places that it needs to be to continue to grow, but also making sure it's not at an astronomical tax.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess the last point I have, and then Humphreys, I can throw it to you if you have a question. I think I love because we talked about this earlier on the last AMA, Zach. I love that your guys' transparency and how active you are in your community. You're listening to your community and all those kind of things. I mean, you very clearly last time outlined some of the previous holders. Hugo, you mentioned that, you know, that were going to be airdropped a certain number of tokens. So again, it's transparency. Your launch went well. You've launched with utility. You know, so I applaud all that. So Humphreys, you got anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say, for what it's worth, I mean, what I like to see from projects, and I don't know if your guys' contract allows this, you know, or not, but I like the flexibility of being able to change that sort of thing depending on market conditions, right? Like, for instance, like in a bull market and a bear market, what you want that buy and sell tax could be completely different based on market conditions, based on how much money people have, right? I mean, based on a lot of different factors, right? So it sounds like that's kind of what you guys are kind of doing, is kind of leaving that gate open. And as long as, you know, you tell people, hey, you know, we've just changed the taxes from now until whenever we tell you we change them again, and people know, and here's what it is. I think that's cool. And, you know, because again, I think we might've mentioned this on the last one. It's this whole thing with like renouncing the contract too. And I'm not saying it's like terrible to do, but there was like this narrative where like, you got to renounce the contract because yeah, the first time you do something is just perfect, right? And there's never going to be anything you want to change because you just nailed it, right? Like you're perfect Nancy. And, you know, I don't know why it's perfect Nancy, but you get my point, right?
Did your grandmother just show up? Perfect
Nancy. Kind of rambling about
pulled that one out of the air. I mean, come on.
Perfect Nancy. I guess I was going with negative Nancy, perfect Nancy. So that we got perfect Nancy and negative Nancy. But all right, so
funny.
Just rambling a little bit. But Hugo, I was in the Telegram last night, and right before I went to bed, you dropped a little note in there saying that there was a big partnership potentially in the works. I know some people may have not seen that or heard that. I don't know how much you could speak to that, but how much can you speak to that? I guess this is a question.
Extremely a long time to get there. Wow. Okay. All right.
Extremely limited, right? But of course, with the type of app that we are working on and the end goal of the app, you know, I'm not sure if you were in some of our AMAs, but there's a lot that is still to come. You know, there's going to be the smart alerts, which will just basically alert you based off of the tokens that you just have inside of your wallet. You don't have to set anything. So let's say if you have, let's just say like Shiba Inu, and Shiba Inu starts to spike like ridiculously high, you know, just because you have that token inside of your wallet, it's going to send you an alert that there's an exponential increase, or if it's dumping, it's going to send you those alerts. So smart alerts. So there's still a lot that is yet to come. V2 is still coming out. So of course, you know, there are you know, big organizations that we're looking at to, of course, you know, partner with. And I'm not gonna, you know, go more in depth in that, but when that comes, the time will definitely come for that.
Hugo, that's totally cool. I totally get that. You just gave me an idea though, man. And again, feel free to steal this because I haven't built this application. But what if you got whale alerts? Because you made me think about something with Shiba Inu. What happens if you get an alert when a whale, like a top 100 holder of a cryptocurrency, a special alert for when a top 100 holder either enters the fold or exits or is selling or something? That would be super cool, right? Because now you know, like some big player in this token is getting out. You know, like, oh my, because every sell isn't equal, right? Because a sell from, you know, me maybe with my $500 in an asset's different than somebody who owns 3% of the supply or something, right? That's just an idea.
Absolutely.
That's funny. We were actually discussing that on a recent AMA, or as a recent voice chat. It wasn't even a traditional or main AMA where we were talking about, okay, well, what if we could then get top wallet alerts? Or what if we can get alerts from the biggest holders, or even the deployer wallet alert, or a team wallet alert, right? Where then we could integrate different types of alerts to notify of the chart dropping if it's a significant type of wallet selling. So yeah, I mean, the sky is the limit with something like this. The foundation is there with the application, and with the application to then be able to deliver on the newest tokens, because we all know, like, you download Binance, you download Coinbase, you have the you know, as Austin said it initially, you have the centralized exchange functionality in the DeFi space. And so that was, you know, perfectly said, that you now have an application that gives you this functionality as if these tokens were listed on the top centralized exchanges. And that really is the essence of what's being built here. And all of the extra bells and whistles, those are just added, you know, at that point.
Well, for what it's worth, I will definitely throw my vote into that, because, like, you guys know, if y'all watch, I know y'all watch some of our content, we cover specifically like around SHIB and some of the other tokens. We really do cover whales, but we only really have visibility into whale acquisition, right? We know when they buy $5 million of SHIB or whatever they do, and we really know it's the top 100 wallets. But to know when they're buying, but when they're selling, that'd be a good thing. Go ahead, Zach.
We're relying on Whale Tracker, right?
Yeah,
and whale stats and like those kind of stuff. That's all they do. But like, if you could integrate it and just get the message, like, you don't need to go wait until Whale Tracker finds it or whale stats. It's just like, oh, something's happening. Boom. Like, what's going on, right? That would be cool. That'd be cool.
And as somebody who covers that, that would be pretty cool for me to put on a video. That's interesting. Maybe I might be able to do videos using this little app.
I wonder where we could find a group. Yeah. I wonder where we could find a group of guys to make something like that happen.
I wonder if somebody could develop that shit. Hey, Hugo, can you develop that shit like tomorrow? You know, come on. Sorry, I'm having
just to clarify, Austin, that is very, very possible. But of course, you know, it's looking at it from a legal perspective.
That's fair.
How legal it is to track whales, you know, and if it's something that it's, you know, perfectly fine, then why not? You know.
That's fair.
So actually, that's a good point. So, but here's a question, and I'm not, you know, looking to get into the tech, you know, the underlying technology, you know, the development, but like Zach mentioned, like, you know, Whale Tracker or whalestats.com or something like that. I mean, what am I trying to say here, Zach? I mean, I don't really need to know. I don't need to know that a whale moved in, just that whales in general are moved in. Because I think, Hugo, you're right. I don't necessarily, I don't want to know that wallet address over. I mean, I would like to know that, but legal, I get the legal aspect, Hugo. So maybe there's a way to aggregate it. Hey, the top 50, you know,
one of the top 20 wallets has just sold, right? Or something. That way you're not singling somebody out. Or I mean, I guess, but the blockchain's public. I mean, anybody can go and just look at it.
Right. That's a good point.
Right.
You know,
I see the wheels turning for you guys.
Yeah, this is cool, man. I like conversations like this, man.
I apologize. I'm having an allergy attack in my left eye, so that's what I'm. So I'm not sending anybody weird messages or anything. These are like signals, like bye. I got that going on.
As long as you're sending buy signals and not sell signals, we're good.
Buy Tradix. No, I'm saying, okay. I'm sorry. You know.
Hey, this question's for both of you guys. How have you seen the community grow? I mean, just from where this thing started to kind of now, and I know the Telegram's a lot, you know, very active and they're excited. Just maybe kind of speak to them. I know a lot of them are in the chat, so whoever wants to start with that.
So I think we have exponentially grown by a lot, and what is really different about Tradex is, you know, I, Zach, and Tyler, and of course the rest of the admin team, we are constantly in there, you know, answering questions, engaging with the community, you know, having comps. You know, we have a comp right now that is currently running for the next 12 hours. So we are trying as much as possible to engage the community. You know, once the app launched, we posted it like in the first 2 minutes. You know, so we understand that, you know, like Zach had mentioned, this is this is definitely a community space now, especially during this bull market, bear market. So it's the engagement is extremely necessary, and of course, as a team, we're trying the very best that we can to engage the community that we have. I think we are over 1,000 as I'm speaking right now, so that's definitely
and
good.
I think there's a lot of people that came in to just see if it's possible, right? That heard what Tradex is doing and that are like, I'm gonna take a seat and I'm gonna see if they release this, and if they do, I'm getting in. And I feel like we're going to see a really big shift going into this next week, because that truly is, the proof is in the pudding. When people talk about releasing a big utility, only a fraction of the time do they actually do it. And so I think that there's a really big, strong community there, and a lot of people that are really excited, but there's also a lot of people sitting on the sidelines. The majority of the users use, iOS, use Apple iPhone. So if that drops and they're using the application, they're like, oh, it's actually here. And if I just keep using this app and I hold X amount of tokens, I'm going to have the premium features too. Okay, I'm in, right? And right now is the absolute perfect time to launch, because look at the market. We timed that perfectly. The market's exploding. The market's going up. And I think that that's a perfect time to really have this launch kick off, the app kick off, because people are going to start using their ETH more. People are going to start using, their free, what they have in their wallets to start investing in all of these tokens. And I think it's a perfect time to really kick this off. So I'm really happy with how the launch happened and the state of the market that we launched in. I mean, ETH is over 1,400 today. People are celebrating. People are using that and going and buying, right? Match that with the application coming out and the V2 coming so damn close behind it that, we're setting up perfectly. It's a steady climb in the right direction, and we're checking all the boxes that need to happen in order to achieve that success.
Sorry, I'm having a go, Zach. I'm having an allergy attack.
No, I couldn't agree more. And I think what you just said is perfectly. It's spot on, right? Because people have been duped so many times in the past, right? With look at our great ideas, look at our elaborate roadmaps, look what we're gonna do, look what we have, look at this, look at that, and then we don't see anything, right? We don't actually have a product. We don't actually have something tangible that sounded like a great idea, right? So I think initially, Zach, from what we heard, I know, Austin, you were hearing this too. Like, I started telling people in my Discord about this. Like, hey, this thing's coming. Like, if this thing's, actually going to happen, like, this is going to help all of us. And people, that's interesting. Wow, let's see if they actually deliver. Let's see if they actually come out with this. Let's see. And I think you're right. When the dust settles and they see the product, they start using it, they're going to want to be closer and closer and closer to that ecosystem. And they're going to look at it and say, wow, these are the features that I unlock when I hold X amount of tokens. And it's going to be a no-brainer for so many people because, Austin, to your point earlier, it's amazing to me that nobody created this. Nobody did this. And a
lot of people have tried. A lot of people have claimed to do it. A lot of people are using, some technology on, a web app that is actually just tying in somewhere else. And, I haven't seen an application, a native application that you have on your phone that does all of this. And so, Hugo is, the mastermind behind the technology that everyone is utilizing. And that's one of the reasons why, when he came to Tyler and I, we said, absolutely, let's get together. Let's plan this out. Let's rebrand this. Let's push this out to the masses. We paired the token. We made sure that everything was connected in that certain way. And, for those of you that are just joining or don't know, Tyler and I, as my co-founder of Rolodex, is the launch pad that Tradex launched on, and everything that we did and everything that we set up was very methodical and well thought out to make sure that, this project reaches the success that everyone knows it can if the delivery is there. And for the Android users, the delivery was dropped, right? And for iOS users, the delivery is about to be dropped. And then it just gets better from there. So it's exciting times. It's exciting times. And that's why I get hyped up to talk about it, because, I'm in this space first as a trader and as an innovator and as of someone who wants to see change in the right direction. And unfortunately, there is a lot of people that are making us work backwards, but the ones who really want to change will make that change. And, that's really what this team and, our extended teams are here to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think you mentioned it, Zach, and Hugo, this one will kind of speak for you on this. I know there are people out there, well, how come it's not out on Apple yet? And I know you're just at when it drops, it drops. You can't control it, right? I mean, so let's talk about
we don't have control of it at all. In fact, Android is a lot more lenient than Apple is. Apple, scrutinizes every single thing. They have to check like your app bundle. They have to check your servers. And given that is the first app on the Tradix name, it's going to take a lot longer than, updates, or if we were to come up with a different app. So the first app is always, so much more longer than usual. Android just happens to process a lot quicker than Apple. But I am thinking that Apple should be out anytime soon now. So for all the iOS users, just give it a couple of days and you have it.
Well, and Zach, that goes to your
Hugo
point.
is handling this.
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to just say, Hugo is handling this on camera really lightly. In our private chat, he's I'm trying to kick down the door. I'm calling support. I'm calling Apple. I'm talking to them. Here's what they're saying. So don't let the calm and cool, collected face on this camera fool you. He is kicking down the door, trying to get it live on the Apple store. So just wanted to throw that out there.
There's probably a few expletives and words that are being bantered about as well. I get it. So yeah.
So just to add to that, I tried calling Apple at 1 a.m. in the morning last.
No way.
And I was like, well, apparently they are closed.
Apparently.
You don't have somebody there 24/7? Yeah, what the heck?
I think the drop of the Apple version will be the final straw in a positive way of people seeing the functionality. I mean, that's a massive user base. I'm not downplaying Google, but I think I think, Zach, this goes to your point. I think people are probably waiting to see a little bit. I think people are like, it's interesting. Wow, they did what they said, but I'm going to wait to see that the Apple component of it, make sure they're delivering on that. And then I think that and then again, it's use. It's starting to use it. I want to get my hands on it. I want to see how easy it is to use.
I was going through my wallets last night and thinking, I've got upwards. Sometimes it's more than this, but I've got upwards of 30 or 35, small DeFi, small caps on Ethereum right now that I'm holding. I can't wait to track them. That's going to be awesome.
Well, and take action, Zach.
100%.
Track them and go, oh shit, man, Polygon's is pumping. What the hell's going on? Whatever. Any variation on that theme,
Yep. 100%.
So good stuff. All right. So we've got, let's do this. Any questions coming from the, let's open up to a few questions while that is going. Zach and or Hugo, I'm going to not Humphreys. I'm going to ask y'all, what's your thoughts on CPI? Kind of came out today, came in line with expectations. Kind of what y'all's 2 cents? You mentioned you timed the launch really well. Obviously you did. What do y'all think kind of the next couple of weeks, 3 weeks or so, month look like for crypto in general? So Zach, you go first. And then Hugo, you can think about your answer.
It's an interesting time. If I had a crystal ball, I would be a lot richer. Which I think we all wish we had, but we're moving in a positive direction. We're coming off of a very rough year, and we're opening up this year really strong. And I think the reports are showing that. I think that we're moving in a positive direction, through all of the markets. And this is a reflection of it. I don't know if you've pulled up or have a chart pulled up of what
Austin, pull up coin market cap.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Of what the market is looking like. When is the last time you opened up the market and scrolled down and saw all of these charts looking in a positive way? That shows, the state of where we're at. That shows the direction we're going. I really hope it's not, like a false little run. But, even if it is, we need those little mini pumps to get to the end goal. So I think that even in a state like this, there's a lot of opportunity to make money. There's a lot of opportunity to accumulate. There's a lot of opportunity to build your portfolios for the long run. And I think the reports that are coming out and how the first 2 weeks of the year have gone are indicators of where we're heading.
Hugo, what's your thoughts?
I think anything is better than last year. Last year was just terrible. I joined crypto during this the bull market when Shiba Inu launched, and I literally thought that this is just the way cryptocurrency works. It's like you could just throw money into anything. Like I bought Shiba Inu, Saitama, Shinja, and I was just banking it. And I was like, wow, I should just quit my day job and just do crypto because this is like exponential. And then the next year came and it was terrible. 2021 was just terrible. A lot of people lost money. And that's actually what led to Tradex was because, we're just rugs after rugs after rugs. And I was like, there has to be something that has to be done. But then, of course, to answer your question, I think it feels good to see a mini bull market. Inflation still looks a little bit high. I looked at the report, but I think it's towards the right direction. And I think we needed that correction, for, early traders. And I think, the more Ethereum goes up in actual value, the more you get new buyers that are not in crypto, like we had initially talked about. We have the same old people that are just recycling crypto over and over again. So the fact that Ethereum is going higher means that we are getting fresh eyes, and these will slowly trickle down into the meme coin space. So yeah, it is super exciting.
Yeah, and I think to that point, I mean, Bitcoin's up 8% right now on the 24-hour. If that continues for maybe another X amount of hours or what have you, it will be picked up by mainstream media globally. You've got these, and we all know that's part of the game, if you will. And so that's part of it, is that we've got to get, but again, it's, and Humphreys and I talk about this all the time. You've got to get baseline confidence that to come back to crypto. FTX, SBF shattered a lot of that, shattered people's faith in centralized exchange, which brings us back fully to what the functionality, in my opinion, of what you guys are bringing into fold is that I can be more empowered to make better decisions and choices because I have these alerts, I have these things where I can know what the hell's going on and make it just be more informed. That's what I love about what you guys are doing.
You mentioned a very interesting point about how when the mainstream media starts to cover Bitcoin, starts to cover Ethereum and show that the prices are going up. And then you mentioned about, stuff with FTX, centralized exchanges losing people's faith, right? Well, there's corporations far bigger than FTX that are talking about the decentralized space and how that's so important, and how when there's certain functionality in the decentralized space that's going to take over the centralized exchanges, because that's really the essence of the cryptocurrency that we're all in, right? Yeah. And back to the very main point, the first call, Austin, when you and I, we had a private call talking about Tradex, and you're like, at the core of all of this, it's the centralized functionality in the decentralized space. And that right there is so important to grasp, because people are going to be able to jump over the centralized exchanges into the decentralized space where there already is an extreme amount of money pumping into, but still have the functionality in order to make sure that they are making the safe bets and have control over their portfolios.
Yep. No, I absolutely agree. Oh, well, all right. So common sense is here. He obviously, hey, I get a little bit of common sense super chat. So thanks for that, man. I gotta try to beat Zach. He had, what'd you get, Zach? Like 114 or something? I gotta beat you, man. Come on.
I don't remember.
Oh, listen to that. I don't remember. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Common sense is amazing. I got to give a shout out to that guy. That guy really pushes everything forward. He's amazing. Common sense is awesome. He's one of the Rolodex. He's in a Rolodex whale group who actually funds a lot of the other projects. And if you don't know, if you're part of the Rolodex whale group, you have very special privileges. all of those guys are actually part of why Tradex is here as well. So Common Sense, you're amazing, and I appreciate you, brother.
Super active on Telegram too. I see him in there all the time.
Yeah, that's Common Sense. Thanks for being here, man. And thank you for the super chat. I'll go to the bar later tonight and take advantage of that. So, so just kidding. Okay. So Humphreys, what's your opinion on CPI? Kind of the state of the union, since we're kind of going do it. Let's go around the around the horn on that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so I think one thing we kind of forget, like crypto was really looking solid before the FTX crash. Right? Like Polygon was at $1.25. Bitcoin was over 21K. Things were looking on the up and up. And all of a sudden the bottom fell out. So, I mean, if you go to like the 3-month chart on Bitcoin, you could see kind of where we were right before the FTX crash. So, I think we can run a little bit. I do think we can run up toward 21K. Is it the end of the bear market? Nobody knows, right? Can we dial back down to 15, 14K, go down to 12K? Sure, it's possible, right? But at the end of the day, you take the good days in a bear market, no matter what. I think we're all super bullish on crypto long term. But, you go back even to August, Austin, go to the 1 year. I mean, Bitcoin was at 25K almost. There you go. Yeah. Oh, no, actually, no, come down a little bit.
I can't do math in public. I can't do dates in public. Yeah.
Go back left.
Oh,
left, right.
You're making me work for it, man. There we go. 2022.
Yeah. I mean, so basically, we've been in this neighborhood before, right? The FTX thing kind of derailed us a little bit. So,
I mean, don't get. I mean, FTX, Three Arrows Capital, Celsius. I think that's a Terra Luna, the whole thing. So,
well, I was reading something. So this is really interesting. I was reading something that basically said, and this is just a theory, but basically, like our bear market should have started well before we think it started. And it was all because of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and Alameda Research. Meaning, so like the whole thing back in, really, we should have started in 2021, November. But if you guys remember, we had like this big like dump and then it pumped, and then Bitcoin pumped again. It was like, he made the kind of argument that it was all artificial, that it was all manipulated by Sam Bankman-Fried. If you go back, he like had all these data points, and you look at Solana's price, which we know was heavily manipulated by Alameda. You go and look at the price points during the time frames he shows. Really fascinating. So, it sucks that we had to go through that, but the fact is it's necessary, right? Like now we move on. We move on from the bad actors, and the space is only going to grow and get better from here, right? And I think DeFi is going to get a huge boost in the years to come. Especially when we can streamline it, make it easy for people to get in and out, fiat on ramps and off ramps and things like that.
Well, and I think that brings Zach Humphreys, that brings up a really good point. And so Zach and Hugo, this is kind of for you guys, because obviously your app is, again, like how I've said it a couple of times, it brings that centralized look, feel, interface into the DeFi world. And I mean, we all come into crypto for the most part via a centralized mechanism, Coinbase, Crypto.com, KuCoin, Binance, whatever it may be. That's usually our first foray in, and we get used to that UI, that experience, and then we kind of go, oh, there's stuff on here I can't buy, and then we're looking at like, okay, I got to do a Trust wallet, a MetaMask wallet, and there is this massive leap over into that world of an education. There's no safety net. You are in the wild, baby, and not that Tradex is trying to solve that. You're trying to bring functionality to help us make better trading decisions. But my question really is to either one of you is, do you agree with that? Do you agree that stepping over into the DeFi world, there is this kind of educational, you've got to be, it's harder. And how do we make that better? I mean, you guys live in this, and Hugo, you're living it from a development, a code standpoint. How do we make that world easier for people to get into? That's my question.
Yeah, I think that you're solving multiple things there. I feel like I want to make sure we're very clear on something, that Tradex is not a wallet by any means. Correct. It's a way to connect your current wallet to execute these trades automatically, track them, measure them, all of that. So Tradex is not itself holding any of your cryptocurrency or on ramp.
Right. Yeah, and you're not executing the trade.
I think I made it cut out there.
Yeah, you're not executing. You're not your own. You don't have a DEX either. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and so we're not the ones. It's not swapping on a DEX that, you know, Tradex has a liquidity from or anything like that. It's Tradex is executing the trades. Tradex is tracking the trades. So I want to make that very clear. I feel like there definitely needs to be some education as far as a direct jump to the decentralized space. I spent a couple hours this week with people in our community, just because I believe strongly in you know, an educated person is able to most effectively, you know, trade in this space. So I spent several hours this week alone just, you know, going over how to then on ramp US dollar, you know, fiat into Ethereum, or how to get you know, Ethereum straight into your MetaMask. With jumping over Coinbase or jumping over Binance, for example. If you fund Binance, you know, sometimes they put a 10-day hold or a week hold or whatever it is, and by that time you already lost your trade and your entrance point is, you know, already gone. So I feel like there definitely needs to be better education there. I feel like some of the wallets that are out are doing a better job with their on and off ramp abilities to be able to, you know, within minutes have cryptocurrency transferred in from fiat. I think there is a lot of partnership capabilities and opportunities for Tradex. There's already people reaching out to us to talk about those opportunities because maybe they have an incredible wallet or an incredible on-ramp system, but they don't have the tracking ability that Tradex has set up. So with that being said, the door is open to so many possibilities because this technology is here. And then bridging the gap with the on-ramp, I agree with you. There is a huge point there. I mean, you know, you're talking about, you know, FTX crash or centralized exchange crashes. Back in November, there was a single day there where we saw more money going into decentralized finance than any other day in the year because people just completely lost faith in the centralized exchanges. So if we can get all of that money utilized properly, everyone is going to see incredible gains because now you're not just seeing fiat going into cryptocurrency on a centralized exchange. You're seeing fiat going into cryptocurrency in the decentralized space, which directly impacts everyone here because we're not talking about just Ethereum or Bitcoin or any of those, you know, main blockchains. We're talking about all the tokens in the decentralized space also pumping too, with those billions of dollars coming into the decentralized space if utilized correctly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. 100%.
Go ahead, Humphreys. You were going to say something?
No, I lost my train of thought. That was just a lot of great stuff there. I agree 100%. Yeah, I had something, but I forget. It'll come back.
And Zach, I mean, I think that you're right. I forgot that was a watershed moment where you've got centralized exchanges effectively saying, you know, well, at the time, right, trade on us, but don't hold your tokens on, you know, don't, you know, hold your own keys. And that was actually kind of a watershed moment that was created by FTX and SBF.
Yeah.
And I think that was a moment that we will look back on and go, there was probably a really big adoption of DeFi, and people were looking around like, what the hell is a MetaMask or Trust Wallet? Now I got to go get one. Go ahead, Humphreys.
Yeah, I mean, what happened to Trust Wallet after the FTX crash? It skyrocketed, right?
Yeah.
It's owned by Binance, and so of course CZ and Binance were pushing it to the masses, right? But to your earlier point, Zach, like the partnerships, I 100% agree. There was one kind of went unnoticed too, but MetaMask has partnered with PayPal. Mm-hmm. Right, to make those fiat on ramps easier. That's a thing that's in the works. So I think the future is DeFi, especially when we can get to the point where somebody said this. I forget who said this, but it was so perfect. You got to get to the point where people are using a crypto wallet without even knowing they're using a crypto wallet.
Yeah.
Right. Like right now, we're kind of at that phase where it's like, okay, you got to do this step and this step and this, and then you got to do that. And then you got to transfer this. People are like, okay, that's too much. I'm just going to Coinbase. Forget about it. Right. But if we can get to that point where it's just like, oh, I'm transacting in my crypto wallet and I don't even know it. Right. Making that seamless. That's where I think we need to head to. And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yep. Okay, so let's do this. We're coming up on the last 5 or 10 minutes. I have to leave in about 12 minutes to go get my son from school, so I have to go do that. So, hey, just life, real life, right? Call for questions. Anybody has any questions for Zach or Hugo? And so drop them in. We got Common Sense still saying you're tremendous. That's cool. Let's see. So, any questions? We got there's a super chat. Thanks, John. Positive thinking. I'm just saying it out loud. We at the bottom, Bitcoin to the moon. You get if Austin smiles. There you go. You got my there. It just happened. But thanks for that. I mean, I think actually that's a question, Zach. While we're waiting on some questions to come in, and or Hugo, because Humphreys and I were talking about this earlier today. It's the bottom for Bitcoin. Do you still think there's downside risk there? And if so, again, just what are y'all's side? I think we agreed, Zach, it was like, we think 12 to 14 might be the new bottom if Bitcoin does kind of move back down after a certain kind of bull run. What are your thoughts? Zach or Hugo?
I don't know if I'm cutting out again, but I'm thinking that you guys are frozen. I'm back. Okay, cool.
You are calling. All right.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I like to stay very realistic, but edge on the side of being optimistic, right? Because it's better to live in optimism than pessimism. But I would really like if this was the bottom, and if we do move down just a little bit, I would not like to be too much further down. I think that we're seeing adoption at a very, very fast rate with cryptocurrency. And I would like, if the reports keep coming out positively, I would like to see a steady climb. And then maybe midway through the year, we'll see a very fast increase. And then round out the year very strong, and then go into the next year climbing even higher.
Cool. Yep. Hugo, you want to add anything to that before I pop up a question?
No, I just just like Zach mentioned, it's I am very bullish on crypto itself. I think this year should be absolutely amazing. I think we've had a very rough year, and I think, in my opinion, I think we have hit the bottom already, and I think we have a mini bull run that could potentially lead to something even larger than what we experienced, back in 2021.
Cool. Okay. I'm glad that Stacks asked this, so I'm going to let Zach or Hugo take this. Is Tradix only a DEX trading platform? We already covered it, but I'm going to let one of you guys take that. So go ahead.
Yeah. So the answer is no. So there's a Tradix token that is currently live. The name is Tradix. The ticker is TX. So go and take a look at that. The Tradix token is, thank you very much, Austin, for pulling that up. The Tradix token is your gated access to premium features of the Tradix application. So the Tradix application is currently live on Android and coming any second now on iOS. Version 1 is the alerts, your tracking abilities for all of your DeFi tokens cross-chain. The version 2, which is almost wrapped up right now, it's been working on pretty damn hard every day by Hugo and his team, is your ability to set your automated trading features. And if you want to be able to use those features, you have to hold 250,000 Tradix tokens. So I believe we're going to see a massive spike as the iOS app drops, of people accumulating those tokens in order to lock in those features. For people saying, we're going to see a hard mass adoption from the application because, there's only limited supply. There is a plan in place for the mass adoption of the premium features. But if you want to lock in and solidify your long-term use of the premium features, 250,000 Tradix tokens is your key for that.
You know what? That was absolutely fantastic. I think we're going to end with that. that was like perfect. All right, I can't get any better with that. All right.
Close the curtains.
Close the curtains. I gotta go. No, I'm kidding. I do have to go get my kid here in a minute.
Quick, end the show. End the show.
That was perfect. I'm like, This is cool. That's awesome. You know, it's like, can I record that? Well, I did. Actually, this is recorded, so never mind. So here we go. All right, we're going to go around the horn. Humphreys, you got anything you want to add or kind of closing remarks? Go, man.
Just thanks. And thanks to everybody out there for listening, and enjoy the green today. Check out Tradix. I think Austin's got the links down there in the description for you. So check them out. Have a look at them, because they're building something that's really needed. Depending on, it doesn't matter what cryptos you're in. We're not here to talk about, you know, this or that, or this is for everybody, right? So check them out, and all the links are down below.
All right, perfect. Hugo, you're up. Any last parting words?
Absolutely. So I think, you know, just like Zach said, Tradix is for everyone. And that's basically what I was trying to resolve when I created, you know, the alerts. You can track literally any blockchain that just came out. It doesn't matter if it's a second ago or 10 years ago. You have that ability to actually track it. So it's extremely exciting, and there's so much more to come. I'm just super hyped to, you know, show you guys how much more and the exciting stuff that we, of course, have coming out in the V2 and the V3 absolutely.
Excellent. Cool. Zach, final thoughts?
My last final thoughts weren't good enough, Austin.
Well, just in case you want, yes, but in case, just, you know, in case you want to add anything to that, man.
Yeah, I mean, sure. If I have the chance, I'll always add to it. You know that. I'm like the other Zach. You can't shut me up. No, I want, number one, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk with two well-respected people in the crypto space, and the ability for Hugo and I to come on here and showcase Tradex and everything that we're doing and everything that we're working on. It's just a really awesome opportunity. If anyone does have questions, I believe there should be a link to the Telegram in the video or in the stream. Come and hop into the Telegram. Come ask any questions that you have. There is a great admin team, moderators, community. Everyone is more than happy to help. Feel free to even reach out to me directly. Happy to answer any questions that come on. And if all looks good, buy in and let's have some fun.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for giving us a few minutes of your time today. This has been awesome. Of course, the replay will be up forever for you guys to watch. So everybody stick around after we end the show, and we'll see you guys. Have a good one. Take care.